This isn't your first rodeo. Do you have any questions for me before we dive into it?
Not at all. I mean, let's just, go as deep as we can. I mean, obviously I have no limits, so, we can really get into the meat of any situation. I kind of prefer it that way. There's enough stuff out there for the novices. So, we won't be doing any justice by, giving some surface level content. But, if we can go deep, that's always, just one of my requests. But not all, it's wherever it takes us.
Yeah, man, I love it. I'm ready. Yeah. Cool. All right, people, we spend a lot of time analyzing the power pyramid and the actions of the nefarious elite, but maybe we should take a break from looking outwardly today and start looking in. Well, today's guest, Sevan Bomar, is here to remind us that giving too much attention to the Puppet Master's playbook is a surrendering of our power, and we might be better suited to focus on raising our consciousness level and unlocking the hidden potential we've been distracted from. Sevan is a widely known spiritual teacher committed to the universal transformation of humanity and involution for all beings, the author of The Code to the Matrix, and the man behind AstralQuest.com and SecretEnergy.com. Together, a huge archive of knowledge and interactive enlightenment guide covering subjects like alchemy, telepathy, precognition, tachyon, energy bombardment, mass quantum, evolutionary biophysics, and much, much more. But if that wasn't enough, he's also the man behind the Innerversity, a virtual institute of a similar nature, along with several other projects to boot. A wealth of knowledge, the man who knows the plan, Sevan Bomar. Welcome to THC. How the hell are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing exceptionally well, Greg. It's wonderful to be on, and thanks so much for that, concise introduction. It's not every day that someone's able to cover, the full scope of what's going on our end. And, it's just amazing to be on Higher Side Chat. And, I'm ready and available to deliver a message to the audience. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be some new stuff. And we love new. So we're going into 2016. So I think this is an amazing time for us to, to start seeing and metamorphosizing what we really want versus, just following the same old program.
Well said. Yeah, it's a real treat, man. Thanks. I've listened to hours of your interviews and presentations, and I still feel like I've barely scratched the surface. And I know your Innerversity course does talk about deciphering symbolism as well as deprogramming, and I think those are areas we talk about a lot here, but it does seem kind of like it's just part of a bigger process. And even though I think some of us do tend to get stuck in there, and I guess to get this ball rolling, it's a big question, but once someone is aware that they've been steered into a pointless career, pushing papers around for the profits of the system, or they recognize the archonic control structures, instead of just dwelling on the negativity there and wallowing in this feeling of being trapped on the hamster wheel, what are some of the first steps to, I guess, reclaiming your life, uncovering your purpose, or manifesting a more enriching reality?
Well, that's a great question. The first thing that I would say is that the system is really structured to actually demoralize a person. So there's a lot of, when you start waking up, you somewhat find it impossible to get out of the, the everyday run-of-the-mill kind of program. And this is because mentally, spiritually, and physically there has been some damage. But we do generally encourage people to actually work more with their physical body first, because that's like, what kind of takes the most damage. If somehow the body is not conducting enough, the pH is off, the filters, as we call them, or the organs are clogged, and these kind of things, it doesn't really matter what kind of information that you take in, because it will have to be processed by those filters. So the first thing that we really encourage people to do once they start to wake up is to start going directly inward, hence the term Innerstand, which was, I don't know if I coined it, but it's definitely something that I began to use about 7 or 8 years ago very heavily, and then I just start seeing everyone using the term. But it just means make a stand within, because you know how they say if you don't stand for something, then you'll fall for anything. But this is really about the inner stand. So it's like going into your own consciousness and beginning to see yourself as not just a member of a planet, but actually a cosmos. Because it's incredible to, when you tell someone that you're actually an entire cosmos, you can tell the depth of the programming that's actually been done on this dimension, because people don't actually believe that. And so my work, it's been 7 years, on a consistent basis, but really all my life I've been studying spiritual knowledge. So my work is really centered around actually showing a person beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are in fact a cosmos, and that the organs in their body do play the planetary system, and that the geometry that's within the body, phi, and what that connects to is all of the structure that we're dealing with in our creation. And so when you begin to learn that, which is basically about yourself, then you get re-empowered, literally, that your current or your currency, which are tied into each other in the body, that helps the mind and helps the spirit to be able to make its travel and its progress starts to build. And so a big part of that, again, is cleansing out the body. And that's starting even with the root chakra, colon cleansing and that kind of thing. And then allowing those organs to begin to vibrate at the frequency that they're designed to vibrate at. And then when that happens, the person starts to have the fuel, the will, literally, to what's necessary to push through and continue to keep pushing through what can be like a sluggish reality. So that's really the first major point that I would have to deliver. And then also really working on environmental programming. That means where you're actually immersing yourself. And the easiest way to really start checking things is to check all of the orifices, meaning what's coming inside of your vision, your eyes, what's coming in your ears, what's coming in your mouth, even what's coming through your pores, to start having your own, I would say, customs or system of defense that you set up personally to begin to guard your consciousness from what is actually entering and what could actually, somewhat cause a mutiny within your own physical, mental, and spiritual structure. So, it's a very deep topic because obviously the body is not simple. It's a very complex structure. It does involve more than we will ever see in technology. In fact, technology is plagiarized directly from the spiritual, mental, and physical structures of the body. So this means that we do have to spend quite a bit of time, especially realigning ourselves. And I do see that, though, as time well spent versus, if you're at the job or you're, catering to someone else's needs. And at the end of the day, what do you really get from that? Maybe a little bit of paper, but overall, there's not much reward. But when a person spends that time with themselves and begins to invest within themselves, then they find this benefit right within their thinking, right within their spiritual progress, and also being able to metamorphosize the environment that's around them. So it's definitely about the person, and that's really what this message centers around. And it's not about gods, and it's not about religions and aliens and those kind of things, even though we do have a plethora of data on those kind of things. It's still about the person themselves being the central character, if you may, in this theme. And that's how we actually exist. Everything is central to us. We see from the inside of our consciousness outwards. So, whether I want to admit it or not, that I actually, even with you, Greg, I revolve around your world because you're seeing me from an external level. Same thing with me. So we all have to realize that the entire existence here on the physical plane is geocentric. So things are rotating around us. So this means that if we're not at our best and feeling our best, then the only reflection that we're going to get from the reality and things that we're examining is exactly identical to what we're projecting.
Man, well said. Yeah, we're all a cosmos. I like that. Yeah. And working on the physical body is something that the conspiracy world, I think they miss that a lot. If you look at the 90s, maybe more so, there's a lot of overweight, unhealthy conspiracy hosts screaming with a vein popping out of the side of their neck. And you're right. I mean, I'd have to admit that my physical body has taken some abuse. But in this system, in this modern Western society, it's definitely hard not to. And I guess setting up a system where, you have some defenses is great. And